I still remember that morning like it was yesterday. My old friend Joe was the picture of health. We had just met the evening before, laughing about the old days, swapping stories, and complaining about how these young folks don't understand half of what we've been through. He was his usual self, cracking jokes and giving me a hard time for being slow to finish my coffee. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Then the next morning, his daughter called me. Her voice was shaking. Joe had passed in his sleep. Just like that. Gone. No warning. No goodbyes. I was in shock. He was fine yesterday. How does that happen? How does a man who was laughing and joking with me one moment just not wake up the next? I couldn't wrap my head around it. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized how often I had heard stories like this. A father. A mother. A spouse. A friend. They were fine yesterday. Then suddenly, they were gone. It felt like something cruel. Something that creeps in silently, waiting for the right moment to strike. And the worst part? No one sees it coming. I started digging. Asking questions. Reading. Talking to doctors. I needed to understand what had taken Joe. What I found shook me to my core. It turns out this so-called silent killer is more common than we think. It goes by many names. Stroke. Heart attack. Sudden cardiac arrest. It doesn't matter what you call it. The result is the same. One moment, everything is normal. The next, a loved one is gone. What made me even angrier was that most of these deaths aren't random. They don't just happen out of nowhere. There are warning signs. Little clues that our bodies give us. But we ignore them because they seem small. A little dizziness. A sudden headache. A weird pain in the jaw. Feeling more tired than usual. We brush it off. We say, "I'll be fine. It's nothing." But sometimes, it's not nothing. Sometimes, it's the last warning we'll ever get. Joe had mentioned feeling a bit off that day. He said he felt tired but figured it was just from walking too much. He had a little heartburn after dinner but joked about how spicy food never sat well with him anymore. I didn't think anything of it. Neither did he. But looking back, those were signs. He had probably been having a small heart attack, and we missed it. This happens more than people realize. Many seniors go to bed thinking they just need rest, only to never wake up. Their families are left in shock, wondering how this could have happened. But the truth is, the body doesn't just shut down without a reason. Something is always happening underneath the surface. The problem is, we don't pay attention. And by the time we do, it's too late. I wish I had known then what I know now. I wish I had told Joe to go to the hospital that night. Maybe he would still be here. Maybe we'd still be sitting on that porch, arguing about who was better at fixing cars. But I can't change what happened. What I can do is make sure others don't make the same mistake. If you are over 50, you need to take this seriously. If your spouse, your parent, your friend is over 50, you need to watch out for them. Don't ignore small changes. Don't assume it's nothing. If they seem more tired than usual, if they feel lightheaded, if they have sudden pain in their chest, back, jaw, or arm, don't wait. Get them checked. People like to say they don't want to be a bother. They don't want to go to the doctor for something small. But listen to me. It is better to go and find out it's nothing than to stay home and never wake up. Joe didn't want to be a bother either. But now, his daughter will never hear his laugh again. His grandson will never get to hear another one of his wild fishing stories. All because he thought it was nothing. It's not just heart attacks either. Strokes work the same way. They don't always start with someone collapsing. Sometimes, it's as small as slurred speech. A little weakness in the arm. A slight droop in the face. It doesn't seem like much, so people ignore it. But every second counts. The longer you wait, the more damage is done. The difference between catching it early and waiting could mean the difference between walking and being in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. Or worse, not making it at all. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. I've seen too many people leave this world too soon because they thought they were fine. I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want your family to go through what Joe's family went through. You have people who love you. People who need you. Don't ignore the signs. Take care of your heart. Watch your blood pressure. Know your cholesterol levels. Don't brush off dizziness or shortness of breath. Get checked. And if you ever feel like something is off, don't wait. Don't tough it out. Go to the doctor. I lost my friend because we both thought he was fine. I don't want to lose anyone else that way. If you take nothing else from this, remember this. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Because once someone is gone, there are no do-overs. Now, let's clear some common questions. Are there new medical advancements or tests that can detect hidden health threats earlier? I have lived long enough to see how the world has changed. When I was a young man, we did not have fancy machines or detailed tests to tell us what was happening inside our bodies. A doctor would listen to your chest, check your pulse, and ask how you felt. That was it. If you looked fine, you were fine. Or so we thought. But I have also lived long enough to see the hard truth. Many people were not fine. They just did not know it yet. They walked around with a silent threat inside them, something waiting for the right moment to strike. Then, just like that, they were gone. I have lost too many friends this way. They seemed strong, healthy, full of life. Then one night, they went to sleep and never woke up. It haunted me. How could this happen? How could a man who was laughing with me in the afternoon be gone by morning? It felt unfair. It felt like we were all just waiting our turn, never knowing when it would come. But as the years passed, I realized something. It is not just fate. It is not just bad luck. There were signs. There were warnings. The problem was that we did not have the tools to see them in time. Now, that is changing. Medicine has come a long way. Today, we have tests that can see inside the body in ways we never thought possible. Doctors can find problems before they turn into tragedies. They can detect the early whispers of a heart attack, a stroke, or a silent disease that would have gone unnoticed in my younger days. It is incredible. And yet, so many people still do not take advantage of it. They still wait until something feels wrong. But sometimes, by the time you feel something, it is too late. One of the most powerful tools we have now is advanced heart scanning. Back in my day, if you had a strong heartbeat and no pain, you assumed your heart was fine. But now, doctors can do something called a coronary calcium scan. It looks for tiny buildups of plaque in your arteries, long before they cause any trouble. Many people walking around today have no idea their arteries are slowly clogging. They will not know until one of them gets blocked, and by then, it is an emergency. But with this scan, you can catch it early. You can make changes. You can start treatment before your heart ever has to suffer. Then there is the blood work. Not the basic kind, but the advanced tests that can pick up hidden dangers. They can look at inflammation levels, detect markers that show if you are at risk for heart disease, and even find out if a stroke might be in your future. One test, called a high-sensitivity C-reactive protein test, can tell if there is hidden inflammation in your body that could lead to serious trouble. Another, called a lipoprotein A test, checks for a genetic risk factor that most standard cholesterol tests miss. Many people assume that if their regular cholesterol numbers look good, they are safe. But that is not always true. Some have a hidden risk that only shows up in these advanced tests. And then, of course, there are the new ways to detect strokes before they happen. Most strokes come from small blockages or irregular heartbeats that send clots to the brain. Today, we have tests that can check for those. One of them is a carotid artery ultrasound. It looks at the blood flow in the neck, where many dangerous blockages start. If doctors find even a small narrowing, they can treat it before it turns into something deadly. There is also something called a heart rhythm monitor, which can detect hidden arrhythmias. Some people have irregular heartbeats that put them at risk for stroke, but they do not feel a thing. By the time they realize something is wrong, they are already in a hospital bed, hoping to recover. But if they had been checked earlier, they could have prevented it entirely. Cancer detection has also changed in ways I never thought possible. It used to be that people only found out they had cancer when they started feeling sick. By then, it was often too late. But now, there are blood tests that can detect cancer long before symptoms show up. Some of these tests look for tiny fragments of DNA from cancer cells floating in the bloodstream. They can pick up early signs of several types of cancer, giving people a chance to fight it before it spreads. I think about how many lives could have been saved if we had this technology earlier. People who were taken too soon. People who never even got a chance to fight because they did not know something was growing inside them. Even the way we check blood pressure has improved. It used to be that you only got your blood pressure checked at the doctor's office. But now, with wearable devices, you can track it every day, seeing patterns that might indicate a problem. Blood pressure that suddenly spikes at night, for example, can be a sign of hidden heart disease. Without these devices, people would never know until they had a heart attack or stroke. But now, they can catch it early. They can do something about it. The technology is there. The knowledge is there. But the biggest challenge is getting people to use it. Too many folks still think they are fine because they feel fine. I understand that way of thinking because I used to believe it too. But after seeing too many good people taken too soon, I know better now. Feeling fine does not mean you are fine. Sometimes, danger is building quietly, waiting for the right moment to strike. But we do not have to wait for that moment. We do not have to be caught off guard. We have the tools to see it coming. To stop it before it happens. I tell everyone I know to get these tests. Not to wait until something feels wrong. Not to assume they are safe just because they made it this far. Getting checked is not about being paranoid. It is about being smart. It is about staying one step ahead of the silent killers that have taken too many of our friends and loved ones. I know some people do not want to know. They think if they find out something is wrong, it will just make them worry. But I tell them this. Would you rather know now, when you can still do something about it, or find out too late, when there is nothing left to do? I have seen both sides. I have seen the heartbreak of families who lost someone overnight, never getting a chance to say goodbye. And I have seen the relief of those who caught a problem early and had the time to fix it. I can tell you without hesitation, the second is better. If you are reading this, I am telling you now. Do not wait. Get checked. Use the tools we have today. They exist for a reason. And that reason is to keep you alive. What simple changes can seniors make today to reduce their risk of becoming a silent killer's next victim? I have lived long enough to see how fragile life really is. I have watched too many good people go to bed feeling fine and never wake up. I have seen families left in shock, trying to make sense of something that seemed to come out of nowhere. But I know now that it does not come out of nowhere. There are always warning signs. There are always little things that could have been done differently. And if I could go back in time, if I could sit with every friend I have lost and tell them what I know now, I would tell them this. Small changes can save your life. You do not have to wait until you are sick. You do not have to hope for the best and leave the rest to fate. There are things you can do today, right now, that can make all the difference. The first thing I tell people is to pay attention to their body. It sounds simple, but you would be surprised how many folks ignore what their body is trying to tell them. A little dizziness. A slight pain in the chest. Feeling more tired than usual. They brush it off. They tell themselves they are just getting older. But those little things can be the first signs of something serious. If something feels different, do not ignore it. Get it checked. It is better to be safe than to assume it is nothing and find out too late that it was something. The next thing is movement. I do not mean you have to start running marathons or lifting heavy weights. I am talking about something as simple as walking every day. When I was younger, I thought exercise was just for athletes. I thought once you reached a certain age, you had earned the right to take it easy. But I was wrong. The body is like an old car. If you let it sit too long, things start to rust. The engine does not run as smoothly. But if you take it for a little drive every day, keep it moving, it lasts longer. A simple walk around the block can help keep your heart strong. It can lower your blood pressure. It can keep your joints from stiffening up. It does not have to be anything fancy. Just move. Then there is food. I have seen so many people ignore what they eat because they figure at their age, what is the point in changing now? But food is not just about weight. It is about what is happening inside your body. Too much salt raises blood pressure. Too much sugar puts stress on the heart. Processed foods clog the arteries little by little until one day, they are too blocked to let blood through. I am not saying you can never enjoy a good meal again. But small changes make a big difference. Cut back on salt. Eat more vegetables. Swap out processed junk for real food. Your body will thank you for it. One of the most overlooked things is water. It sounds too simple to matter, but I have seen people end up in the hospital just because they were not drinking enough. Dehydration can make your blood thicker, raising the risk of clots. It can make your heart work harder. It can even cause dizziness, which leads to falls. A fall at our age is no small thing. It can be the beginning of a downward spiral. So drink water. Keep a glass near you. Take small sips throughout the day. It does not have to be complicated. Just stay hydrated. Sleep is another thing people do not take seriously enough. I used to think sleeping less meant I was tougher, that I did not need as much rest. But poor sleep takes a toll on the body. It raises blood pressure. It weakens the immune system. It messes with blood sugar levels. And the worst part is that people who do not sleep well are more likely to have strokes and heart attacks. If you are not sleeping well, figure out why. Maybe it is too much caffeine late in the day. Maybe it is stress. Maybe it is untreated sleep apnea, which is more dangerous than people realize. Whatever it is, do not ignore it. Good sleep is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Another thing I wish more people understood is the power of human connection. Loneliness is as dangerous as smoking. It raises the risk of heart disease. It weakens the mind. It makes people lose their will to take care of themselves. I have seen it happen. A man loses his wife, and within a year, he is gone too. Not from a disease, but from giving up. Do not isolate yourself. Call an old friend. Visit family. Join a group. Stay connected. It matters more than you think. Stress is another silent killer. I have seen people worry themselves sick, literally. Stress raises blood pressure. It weakens the heart. It messes with hormones that control everything from digestion to the immune system. You cannot avoid all stress, but you can learn to manage it. Deep breathing. Meditation. Prayer. A simple walk in nature. Whatever helps you slow down and let go of the tension. Your heart will thank you for it. Getting regular checkups is something too many people put off. They do not want to hear bad news. They figure if they feel fine, they must be fine. But that is not how it works. Many of the worst health problems start quietly. High blood pressure has no symptoms until it is too late. Diabetes can creep up on you without warning. Blocked arteries do not hurt until they are almost completely shut. Do not wait for a problem to announce itself. Get checked. Catch things early. It could save your life. One of the simplest but most important changes is just paying attention to your breathing. Most people do not think about their lungs unless they are struggling to breathe. But the way you breathe affects everything. Shallow, fast breathing can increase stress and raise blood pressure. Slow, deep breaths can calm the body and help the heart. Take a few deep breaths every day. Fill your lungs completely. Let the air out slowly. It is a small thing, but it makes a big difference. At the end of the day, staying healthy is not about big, dramatic changes. It is about small, daily choices. Little things that add up over time. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to give up everything you love. But you do have to pay attention. You do have to make an effort. Life is too precious to throw away by ignoring the simple things. I have seen too many people taken too soon. And I know that many of them could still be here if they had made just a few different choices. Do not wait until it is too late. Do not assume you are fine just because nothing hurts right now. Take care of your body. Move a little more. Eat a little better. Drink water. Sleep well. Stay connected. Manage stress. Get checked. Breathe deeply. These are not difficult things. They are not impossible. But they can mean the difference between being here tomorrow and becoming another person people talk about by saying, "He was fine yesterday." How can we shift from being reactive to proactive when it comes to senior health and well-being? I have seen too many people wait until it is too late. I have watched strong, capable men who once built houses with their bare hands suddenly struggle to climb a single step. I have seen women who spent their whole lives taking care of others suddenly unable to take care of themselves. And I have sat at too many funerals listening to the same words over and over. "He was fine yesterday." That is the problem. Too many people only worry about their health when something goes wrong. They wait until the chest pain is unbearable. They wait until the stroke has already happened. They wait until their bodies force them to pay attention. But by then, the damage is already done. What I have learned after all these years is that waiting is the worst thing you can do. If you want to live a long and healthy life, you have to stop being reactive and start being proactive. Most people think being proactive means going to the doctor once a year. They get their blood pressure checked. They step on the scale. They get told to eat better and exercise more. Then they go right back to their old habits. That is not being proactive. That is checking a box and hoping for the best. Being proactive means taking your health into your own hands every single day. It means paying attention before something goes wrong. It means making small choices now that will save you from big problems later. One of the most important things I have learned is that your body whispers before it screams. A little dizziness. A bit of fatigue. A few nights of bad sleep. These are not just annoyances. They are warnings. They are your body's way of telling you that something needs to change. The problem is that most people ignore these signs. They brush them off as nothing. But then, one day, they end up in the hospital, and suddenly, they are desperate to turn things around. I tell everyone I know, do not wait until you are sick to start taking care of yourself. If you feel off, figure out why. If you are more tired than usual, ask yourself what has changed. If you are getting headaches more often, do not just take a pill and move on. Look deeper. Listen to your body while it is still whispering, so you never have to hear it scream. Another thing I have learned is that waiting for symptoms is a dangerous game. Some of the deadliest health problems give no warning at all. High blood pressure does not hurt until it causes a stroke. Blocked arteries do not announce themselves until a heart attack hits. Diabetes does not make a big fuss until the damage is already done. That is why being proactive means getting the right tests before something goes wrong. Not just the basic tests, but the deeper ones. A coronary calcium scan can show if your heart is in danger long before you ever feel a thing. Advanced blood work can reveal hidden risks that a standard test will never catch. A simple carotid artery ultrasound can detect blockages that could lead to a stroke. These are not just tests for people who are already sick. These are tests for people who want to stay healthy. The problem is that most people do not ask for them. They assume if their doctor does not mention it, they do not need it. But doctors are busy. They focus on fixing problems, not preventing them. If you want to be proactive, you have to ask. You have to take control. Taking control also means looking at the things you do every single day. People think of health as something you either have or you do not. They think it is all about luck. But I have learned that health is built or destroyed by the choices you make every day. What you eat. How much you move. How you handle stress. Whether you get enough sleep. These things do not just affect how you feel today. They determine whether you will be around tomorrow. The problem is that people only start making changes when they are scared. They eat better after a heart attack. They start exercising after they are diagnosed with diabetes. They take stress seriously after they have already suffered the consequences. But being proactive means doing these things before you are forced to. It means choosing water over soda before your doctor tells you that your sugar is too high. It means going for a walk before you are told that your heart is weak. It means learning how to relax before stress puts you in a hospital bed. It is about staying ahead of the problem instead of always trying to catch up. I have also learned that one of the most powerful things you can do for your health is to stay connected. I have seen too many people fade away not because of disease, but because they stopped living. They stopped calling friends. They stopped finding reasons to laugh. They stopped feeling needed. Loneliness is as dangerous as high blood pressure, and it creeps in just as silently. If you want to be proactive about your health, do not just focus on your body. Focus on your mind and your heart. Keep in touch with old friends. Make new ones. Find a purpose. It could be volunteering. It could be learning something new. It could be as simple as having regular coffee dates with someone who makes you smile. But do not isolate yourself. Staying socially active is just as important as staying physically active. I have seen both sides. I have seen people who waited too long, who only started fighting for their health after they had already lost so much of it. And I have seen people who took control early, who made small, steady changes, and ended up living full, vibrant lives well into their later years. The difference is not luck. It is not genetics. It is not some secret formula. It is simple. The ones who lived the longest and the healthiest were the ones who did not wait for something bad to happen. They did not react. They acted. They paid attention before things went wrong. They made changes before they were forced to. They did not treat their health like something that could be ignored until it became a problem. They treated it like the most valuable thing they had. That is what being proactive is all about. It is not about waiting until you are sick to start caring. It is about caring enough today to avoid the sickness tomorrow. It is about taking control instead of leaving it up to chance. It is about respecting the body you have been given and doing everything in your power to keep it strong. If you take nothing else from this, take this. Do not wait. Do not assume you are fine just because you feel fine today. Do not put off the little changes that could save your life. Because once your health is gone, getting it back is not easy. But if you start now, if you take action before you have to, you will give yourself the best chance at a long and healthy life. And that is worth everything. If you like today's discussion, don't forget to like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated with every video we release. And yes, don't forget to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments. Every comment is special to us. Your feedback helps us improve further. We'll continue to meet you in every new video on this channel, so until next time, take care.